Greetings, I am Herbert Erpaderp, and once more it's time for Ask a Herbert Erpaderp. I'll be your Herbert Erpaderp this fortnight, which I guess is just like every other fortnight. Before we get started, it's time to welcome our newest patron, Sophia Catty. Welcome to the, well, I guess we don't really have a cool name for patrons like some do, but welcome anyway. I very much appreciate your support and hope you enjoy being a patron. If you want to be rad like Sophia Catty, there's a link to Patreon in the description below. Check it out. And now, onto the questions. First up, John Tell said, when do you think you'll be approached by any mobile game ad campaigns? I don't know. Probably never. I assume that I'm small enough to fly right under the radar of companies like that. Unless they happen to appear in the ads that run before or after my videos, but I've got no control over what ads are served there. I don't play any mobile games, so I'm not sure if I would really be interested in advertising them anyway, though I suppose it would depend on how much money they were offering. General Spade said, just wondering, how's the Barnacle going with his Germans? I don't know, probably about the same as the last time this was asked. He's slowly working at them. He does have a bunch of other stuff going on though, and models aren't his highest priority. And that's okay. Also, for those who might be confused, General Spade is referring to Barnaby. KSI Agent Texas said, what restaurants would you recommend for someone who is visiting Australia for the first time? If you mean like fast food stuff, you'll probably have tried it all before because they're pretty much all American restaurants, and they're all pretty garbage. Maybe there are some regional variations. I wouldn't recommend fast food though. My suggestions for actual restaurants is only really helpful if you're visiting Brisbane, not other parts of Australia, and I've obviously not tried everything in town. I would have recommended a local Swiss place my friend and I liked going to, but we recently found out that they closed, which sucks. There's a really nice Ethiopian restaurant on the south side. The family that runs it are pleasant and the food was amazing. And cheap. The entire evening cost something like $30 for 2 people, which is pretty good. I was quite surprised the first time I went there. If you've got a local Ethiopian restaurant and you've never been, I would suggest trying it out. Also, there's a nice Persian place in Baden called the Persian Restaurant, strangely enough. I've definitely been meaning to go there again. Caravanserai in West End is quite nice also. That's a Turkish place. There's a few other good places around town too, but I might end up just waffling about them all day, and I don't really have time for that. There are also a bunch of restaurants that say they do modern Australian. I never bother going to them though because it seems like they'd just be a bunch of different stuff from other places anyway. Might be a bit ignorant of me, so maybe I should try one of them sometime. Smoes said, will you change the server icon so it's animated? It was added in the last Discord patch. I think somebody let you know that it's for Nitro boosted servers. I don't know the exact details of that, but I would consider an animated icon. Nothing too animated though. I think something flashy would get a bit annoying. Maybe one that rotates every now and then like my watermark. If anybody wants to Nitro boost the server, feel free. I don't know if that's really worth doing, but I'm not going to stop anybody that wants to do that. Skeletor said, are you addicted to smoking? That seems a bit accusatory, but no, I don't smoke, and I don't like spending time around people who do smoke. Not only does it smell awful and make everything exposed to it smell awful, but it also wrecks my throat. It makes me sneeze too, which is annoying. Helmet, aka Blitzkrieg, said, what kind of gun is this? It floats? Ah yes, the fully autonomous Hovergun 3000. Very secret technology. Don't tell anybody that you saw that. John Tell said, if you had a project that you were working on for ages and then suddenly gets trashed by someone, what would your reaction be? Well, I don't hang around people who would trash my stuff, but I think I would be quite angry at first. I have enough self-control nowadays that I wouldn't react by hitting them, but it would be kind of hard, though that wouldn't fix anything. I think most realistically I would go to the cops, because that situation would also likely involve breaking and entering, on account of me not willingly having that kind of person in my house to begin with. Maybe the charges would be enough to encourage that person to not be such a shithead, and maybe they would get some help. Depending on what the project is, it could always be repaired or rebuilt. Things are only things after all. Trekan Belovich said, "How many 'I should finally paint that' models are waiting on your shelf, excluding the resonant metal Hetzer?" I don't really feel like counting. Most of the models I've built on video are on the "I should paint that" list. Some are obviously lower priority than others though, and there are a lot of models on that shelf. That doesn't mean I'm going to rush to paint them though, they'll get done when they get done. Badger said, "What is your favourite sandwich?" Sandwiches are like pizza in that it's hard to pick a favourite, and I don't see a point in picking a favourite. There are so many good choices though. I guess maybe ham? It's simple and tasty, maybe with a little bit of mayonnaise. If I'm forced to pick, I'll choose that. Mr. Plays 87 said, "What should I get next? German paratroopers or German winter infantry from Bolt Action?" Well, even though you said not to say that it's your choice, it really is. It has no impact on me whatsoever. I guess I would choose the winter infantry though. The coats might be interesting to paint and maybe add some snow or mud effects too. Part-time Tanker said, "What kind of tank would you suggest for my first 1/72nd or 28mm scale model? And what company should I get it from?" There's a lot of choices out there, and I can't really think of anything specific, not knowing your interests and things like that. I will say though that S-model kits are quite good in 1/72nd scale. The Panzer IV or the Crusader are rather nice, or the T-35 if you want something big and covered in turrets. Something from Rubicon in 28mm scale would be good too, like the Jagdpanther that I built the other day on stream. Pretty much any of the tanks Rubicon make are good, the newer ones being better, which makes sense, they improve as they go. Of course, those are gaming models, so if you're more interested in display pieces, 1/72nd scale might be a better choice. And there is a lot of stuff available in that scale that I haven't built, which does make it a bit harder to answer that question. Smoes said, "I'm looking at wanting to start playing the bass. What brand of bass would be good to start with?" That really depends on your budget and how sure you are that you'll want to stick with the instrument. I'm not sure that brand is really that important, but try to find some of the cheaper Yamahas, Fenders or Ibanez. These are known brands that should have cheaper instruments that won't be too bad. Of those, I would probably recommend Ibanez first, and I do know that you can get some of their basses quite cheap. They're obviously not going to be as nice as the more expensive ones, but I don't think you need to spend a whole lot on your first bass. My first bass was a really cheap P-bass knockoff. Good enough, but it was pretty poor quality, and ended up being quite frustrating because it would slip out of tune really easily. But it was enough to learn on. I would suggest steering clear of things like BC-rich Warlocks and stuff like that. They do look cool, and I think mine sounded cool, but they're really heavy and extra large. You'll have trouble fitting it into cars. Hopefully that's at least a little bit helpful. Emil BT said, "Will you ever get around to getting a new tooled Airfix kit so your opinion can change about them? It's kinda sad that you have only built the old and sorta new kits which hasn't left you that satisfied. I can recommend their 1/48th scale aircraft and 1/72nd bombers." Maybe if they were interested in sending me an example of one of their new kits or something like that. Thing is, I don't owe it to Airfix to keep trying their kits until I'm satisfied or change my mind. I have from time to time been tempted to check out some of their newer kits. I think the Halifax was one of the newer ones I'd seen on video, though it could be something else. But there's a whole lot of other stuff out there. I've also got a pretty large backlog of kits anyway, so I'm not going to go out of my way to buy more Airfix stuff. I have no need to, and I pretty much only impulse buy non-wargaming kits in physical stores too. If I'm sitting at my computer at home, it's very easy to talk myself out of buying things I don't need. Keep in mind I do work with a very limited budget here as well. Like I always say, it's nearly impossible to tell if an Airfix kit is new or from the Dark Ages when all of the boxes on the shelf look the same, so I don't really feel like risking it. I think if I had more patrons, I would be able to give more consideration to buying things like Airfix kits, though only if patrons really wanted to see them. I would prefer to use the money on nicer things. Garrus909 said, "If you had to choose a spirit animal, what would it be and why?" Interesting idea. I don't know how a spirit animal works. Is it meant to represent your character, or just an animal that you like? I don't know, I think I would choose a mouse. Mice are cute and I like them. They don't really represent me though, so I guess if it's meant to be representative of you as a person, I would have to choose some kind of derpy dog or something like that. But I like mice better. Sneaky Zaku said, "What's your thoughts on the new Games Workshop contrast paints? And the idea of heavy pigment paints that not only colour but shade over a white? I found the paints extremely useful and also surprising. The paints don't shift that much from where you apply them, so it's easy not to make mistakes with it. I haven't used them myself, so I can't really give an opinion on that aspect. I do think they look like a great idea though. I feel like it's the kind of product that will make some people whine and complain about it somehow being cheating, but those people are a bit on the dumb side, so we don't worry about them. I think it's yet another tool people can use to get an effect that they want, and from what I've seen it's quite an effective tool too. I might try them out one day, but I don't really feel a rush to do so. That said, they do seem decent. In the comments section of last fortnight's Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, MP Modelworks said, "Ah shit. I've been collecting models, accessories and information to build the captured King Tiger from Panzer Abteilung 506, and freaking Wargaming has done it just before me. Now everyone thinks that a game I haven't played in 2 years was the thing that inspired me." I don't think you should really worry about that. I would imagine that you're building the model for yourself, so why does it matter where some rando thinks you got the inspiration from? Also, people who don't play World of Tanks are probably not really going to care if it is in the game. You can always tell people where you got the idea from anyway. It is a cool and interesting subject, and it's no surprise that you would want to build it as a model. For the same reason, it's no surprise Wargaming would want it in their game. On another note, I made the mistake of reading a comment thread about the World of Tanks captured King Tiger. People were angry because it's not realistic for Americans to have King Tigers, and they were all like, "What's next? A British OI?" So I wouldn't really worry about what these people think. At any rate, I would love to see the finished result of your captured King Tiger project, so I do hope you'll share it on Discord. Yan Tima said, "What is the best kit you have ever built?" I don't think I can really give a satisfying answer to that. I don't feel like the models I've built are in competition with each other, so I don't really look at it that way, if that makes sense. That said, one of the things I've really enjoyed building lately was the Jagdpanther from Rubicon. That was pretty great, and there will be a video about that soon. Also, the AFV Club Centurion is pretty enjoyable so far, though I am about halfway through that, so I don't want to jinx it too much. The Matilda 2 from Warlord that I recently built was also rather enjoyable. Maybe that's a question for you guys. What do you think is the best kit that I've built on video? Let me know in the comments section below. Okay, so that's all the questions this fortnight. Let's go and have a look at some of the models shared on Discord. As always, a lot of good stuff has been omitted. This is entirely due to time. I don't have infinite hours in the day like some people seem to, so some things have to be left out. If you do want to see everything that gets shared, head on over to the Discord and check out the modelling channel. It's definitely worth it. First up, we have this Jagd Tiger which was shared by Shadowbolts. This looks really nice. I have no idea what scale it is or who makes the kit. It looks like it could be 1/35th scale. What matters is it looks great and has been painted rather well. I quite like the weathering. It's obviously a bit dirty, but you haven't gone over the top with it. Very well done. Ratto shared this Fusioso Dreadnought for Blood Angels in Warhammer 40k. This looks really good. It's actually quite colourful without being obnoxiously colourful. I mean, there's blue claws, green, grey, gold, but it still looks mostly red. Very nice. And here are some Terminator Heroes. These are like the previous image, rather colourful, without being over the top or weird looking. This photo was captioned 28.5 hours of painting. I hope that wasn't literally 28 hours in a row. That's not healthy. Ratto says there's just a bit of highlighting and stuff to go on these, but I think they look great already. No waiting to see the final result though, here are a bunch of pictures of the completed Terminator army. I think they look great. The main red colour is very nice. I'm not at all surprised to see such excellent work from Ratto. He's a very good paintsman. Dan Lebowitz shared this 15mm scale BMP-1. It's a Battlefront model and it's going to be used for games of tanks the modern age. This is really nicely done. Dan mentions the positioning of the guard's insignia is a bit unusual, but it was the only place he could find where the decal would fit. Still, looks pretty good to me. Major General Bunk has finished work on this awesome Churchill Mark IV that he's built and painted as a Beutepanzer of the 2nd SS Panzer Division Das Reich. This model is by the Plastic Soldier Company, but Bunk has modified it quite a bit with extra stowage and an indicator to help the driver know where the front of the vehicle is. That's Bunk's own invention. It didn't exist on any Churchills, captured or not. At least as far as Bunk or I know. That map in front of the hatch is amazing work too. There's been a lot of in-progress images of this model shared on Discord. Definitely worth a bit of a scroll upwards in the miniatures channel to check them out. And all of the other good stuff too, of course. Monol shared this awesome Tiger 1. This is very nicely painted. I'm pretty sure this is a 15mm scale model, and I think it might be from Battlefront, though I'm not sure. Either way, it's a very nice model with a great paint job. And here's a Panzer III seen next to a truck. I have to say, the stowage on the back of that Panzer looks amazing. Is that something you made yourself, or some kind of pre-made stowage set? It's very good and very, very well painted, as is the truck. I like the bright blue windows. It makes me think it's been raining lately and the truck has got quite muddy, but now it's really sunny and the sky is blue and being reflected in the glass. Very nice. And then we have this mouse diorama. This is Monol's first go at making a diorama. I think it's awesome. It looks like the mouse has been pressed into service very quickly without even a chance to paint it. Very well done. Keep up the great work. Krorovus, if I'm saying that properly, is new to the server and decided to share their Soviet bolt-action army. You've got a lot of nice tanks here, and plenty of infantry to send forth to their glorious deaths. And here is the start of a British force for Team Yankee. Nice work, and welcome to the Discord. For a while, SpaceFan247 has been working on this diorama depicting the Panzer of the Deep meme. I have to say the whole will this be put on Ask a Herbert Erpaderp thing kind of makes me not want to put it in the video, but this is too good not to. I really enjoy the idea and your execution is quite good. It was suggested that a border be put around the edges and I think that's a good idea. It does look a bit odd with the exposed sides. It's pretty damn awesome though. I'm glad you did this. Here is something else that SpaceFan247 has done. This teeny tiny plane delivering napalm. It lights up too. Very cool. I believe this little diorama was inspired by the scene in Apocalypse Now. I'm not sure of the scale here, but you can tell that it's really quite small. Very nice work. Name Redacted says, "It is my pleasure to finally announce the completion of these 5 M4A3 Shermans. These, I think, are 15mm scale. German track links have been placed over areas where the decals peeled off. Name Redacted's headcanon here is that the Sherman crews took the tracks from tanks they destroyed as souvenirs. I think that's a pretty creative idea. I do enjoy hearing stories about people's models and why things are the way they are. Also, these are some nice looking, very well painted Shermans." Hope for the Best shared their new platoon leader for their M60 Patton platoon. These are 15mm scale Battlefront models. You've done a really good job on these tanks. I think they're great. And that's it for the modelling this fortnight. Now, let's go and have a look at what's been shared in the Arts and Crafts channel. First up, Eastern Union shared this in-progress otter face. It looks like it says finish this in the upper right corner. And he's done that. Here is the completed otter face. You can also, obviously, see the inspiration as well. Very well done. And here is a spaceship also done by Eastern Union. This is the Illustrious class heavy frigate designed for the Rebel Alliance. This was heavily inspired by the Valor class. I like the coloured stripes. Also the rest of the ship too. Very nice. Max Strike Eagle shared this drawing of Katyusha, with a coin for scale. I had to Google it because I don't know the animes, but this character is from Girls und Panzer. The name should have given it away. Good work though. SpaceFan247 shared this image with the caption, "The Bogeyman," which I found rather entertaining. Good work. Corned Beef shared these 3 drawings. The first is this very nice steam locomotive. My loco identification skills are quite lacking, so I can't tell you what this is based on, but it does look great. Also, this plane. I think this might be a Douglas DC-4, looks kind of like one to me anyway. Also very good. And this is a ute with a large bull bar. It sort of looks like an old Holden ute, but I'm definitely not a car guy. Like the other 2, this one is very well drawn. And here, Corned Beef has decided to try their hand at drawing in an anime style. Of course, I'm no anime expert, but it looks very anime to me. Keep up the great work. Ho Chi Meme says, this is off topic, though personally I disagree. Anyway, they drew this during French class. Very well done. I hope it stayed there for a while. Ho Chi Meme also drew this Dragon Slayer armor, which I think is from one of the Souls games, which I'm unfamiliar with. This is some really nice work though. It looks like it must have taken a good chunk of time. Michael Wittman, aka TM Gamer, shared this painting they did by following Bob Ross. I made a typo in my notes that says Bomb Ross, and I thought that was amusing, so why not share? Anyway, the painting isn't exactly the same as Bob's, but it is still rather good. I like it. Helmet, aka Blitzkrieg, drew this Fallschirmjäger in the winter. He's a very shooty boy. I like the use of colour. Nicely done. And Duncan Hoover shared this mecha tank. This looks like it was designed to do a lot of stomping. I would kind of like to see this in a 3D form, like a model or in a game or something. Nice job. And that's all of the artwork for this fortnight. As always, a big thank you to the people who shared their art and of course their modelling work. Also, thanks to the people who submitted questions. It wouldn't be much of an Ask a Herbert Erpaderp without the asking part. And finally, another big thank you to Sophia Catty, who is our newest patron. Thank you very much. If you haven't done so already, feel free to subscribe, follow, ring the bell, and all the other things you do on YouTube and social media. Links to all the things including Patreon and my Twitch channel are in the description below. You can also find the YouTube join button down there somewhere as well. As always, I shall return soon, so until then, be excellent to each other, and thanks for watching. Farewell.